Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day three of Deploy and Learn Code Deploy, a 1 week training camp organized by Robocalam, supported by AIC Rise, and in association with SR Future Gateway Software Services. So, as a part of this camp, we are going to learn about deploying machine learning models, and we have seen in a first day how to use Flask framework in order to build web applications for Python programs. As well as day two, we have seen how to generate APIs, and we have tested a API even by using get method. And today we're going to see how we can make our API on a beautiful UI by using Swagger. And also we'll try to generate a new model where we are going to develop a web application using HTML and CSS. Okay, so this is all we are trying to cover in this course. And we have seen Flask as a primer, and we have developed a small app even web application of Hello World using Flask framework on Python. And next day, we have taken a data set from thermal power plant where we are trying to predict what is the electrical energy output going to be based on the input parameters such as temperature, pressure, relative humidity, and exhaust vacuum. Okay. And once the data set is given, we have built a model of linear regression for the data set given. After building our model, we have understood that whenever we want to deploy a machine learning model, first it needs to be done with a process called as pickling. Okay, so pickling is a process where we try to do serialization and deserialization. That means we are converting our code into byte stream and storing it onto our memory. And once it is stored in the deserialization state, whenever we call that particular um, file, then it will be present as a complete object. So pickling is useful in that model in that way, and we have done pickling even. So after doing pickling, we try to generate an API using our Flask framework, and in the Flask framework, we have used get method. Okay, so till here everything is clear, I think so. Now we have seen till API generation, and we have also tested one API. So today we're going to use Swagger in order to uh, generate a beautiful UI for the API testing. Okay. So till now, if you have any doubts, you can ask. I'll give you 2 minutes because I see that strength is a bit less today. May I know the reason why people are not able to attend? And hope everything is working well. Only 13 attendees. Actually, it is expected to be 18 or 20. May I know the reason why people are not able to attend the session? And this time attendance, I'm going to keep track because 7 days thing, and let's make it so strict even. So any doubts till now, you can ask. Then I'll jump on to generating Swagger UI. Okay, no queries. So let us start. So yesterday we have seen like how to generate our Flask app. So I'll just try to open that program. So for that, let me open my PyCharm and close. So we are working on Flask APIs. So this is the code we have written yesterday, and actually Swagger was not introduced, and we tested our API even. So how to test using Swagger API? Let us see. So what is Swagger doing here? Let us see first. Then we will introduce the parameters to be done in the Swagger. Okay, so let me run this. So once I run, web server will be started, and let us run this. So actually I told you whenever you want to access the Swagger file, then you need to enter slash API docs. Okay, that means it is creating the whole API documentation. So here if you see, the UI is clear to you and it is asking for define your operations. So in Swagger interface, how to define our operations is something we're gonna see right now. Okay, so please try to listen carefully. This is very simple only again. So in the predict methods, you need to initialize your predict method with doc strings. So doc strings are nothing but, okay, 3 inverted commas you need to place. Okay, so let me place this. Okay, you need to place 3 inverted commas. So actually whenever you're placing doc strings, Swagger will automatically tell you what it should return. Okay, so that means what should be the final output it should return is something which it is showing. So how to write the Swagger documentation, please try to follow it carefully right now. So the first step, you need to define the parameters that the Swagger UI should show you. So for that, the keyword used is parameters only. So let us use parameters. Okay, here in these parameters, you need to mention what is that input we should give or what is that interface we want to create. So that I'm giving it as parameters. So once you give parameters, you should give a tab space. Okay, you should give a tab space, and before that tab space, okay, with the tab space, you write what is the name you want to enter first. Okay, now I want to enter my name as AT. So I want to show my documentation name as AT, and AT, it should be what form? That means I should take input. So that input should be in the form of a query. Okay, then write it as query. Okay, once it is done, what is that input type should be? You should mention the type of input which you want to input in the UI. So I want it to be a number. I'm writing it as number. Now, if you want to provide validation, then you write required is equal to true. So actually, whenever we open our Swagger API, what happened is that it is showing that there are no operations defined. That means we haven't defined any operations in it. Now, what operations I want to define is that I wanted to take input from the user. So for that, I wanted to create text boxes. Okay, so in order to create the text boxes or input boxes, I need to follow this pattern. Okay, first I need to define my parameters. In the parameters, I should write like what parameters I want to take input, and also whether they are required or not, or what type of parameter I want to take it. So this is a 4-line code you need to follow for every parameter you want to take it as input from the user. Okay, so after this, so always remember before this name you should include something called as a hyphen. Okay, so there should be no gap between hyphen and thing. So it should be aligned with the tab space. Okay, so like this it should be there. And even if you want to maintain space, it's very similar. So this is how you need to write your parameters. So always remember I am taking spaces in order to give you the differentiation. And for name it should be tab space, and for this hyphen it should be 2 spaces. Okay. So once it is done, write the similar queries for everything. And if you want, you can also use doc strings for it, like this. And let us delete this 3. And at the end, I'll keep this doc strings. So these 3 inverted commas, what I am putting, is called as doc strings. Okay. You can also write what you want to show it as a title. Okay. So what is the title we want to put? This is for testing API. using Swagger. Okay, this is for testing API using Swagger, and try to put three hyphens which indicates the separation. Okay, and once it is done, parameters we are defining. So in the parameters it is name we have defined, and for all other parameters also let us define. So I'm just copy pasting because for everything it is same. Now I will change the type of variable here. So our next PV something, and next PV something, and next parameter is relative humidity we are collecting. Okay, RH I am naming. Now this return statement is there, right? Here in the return statement, you need to write something called as responses. Okay, you need to write something called as responses. So once the Swagger API is taking these inputs, okay, these are all kind of inputs only. So when this Swagger API is taking inputs, okay, you need to show some response, right? So for responses in Swagger API, always the code is 200. Okay, always remember this code. It should be 200. So whenever the response is successful, then it will show the code 200, and we'll ask it to print the output values. So there I am giving a simple description as output values, or predicted value you can give whatever you want to. So this is like basic description which you are giving for your Swagger API. Okay, so I'll tell you once again, whenever you run or allocate this API to Swagger for testing, you need to define the parameters, what it should take as input. Okay, and what should be the parameter type. So for that, what I'm doing is that I'm defining my parameters here. Okay, so how I am defining my parameters, for that the code is, you need to include the whole code of parameters in doc strings. Okay, so whenever you are including the code in doc strings, you can write a title for that complete Swagger API. So I wrote it as, this is for testing API using Swagger. Now next, after I'm doing a separation for my heading and the parameters. So after separation, I'm doing it as parameters, and in that parameters, I'm defining each and every parameter and what type of it should be there, and what is whether it is required or not. Okay, for validation. So once it is done, the four parameters you understood, I think so, because those are the inputs needed from user. Once it is done, now I want response. So actually responses are always indicated with a code 200. So I'm indicating it as 200. And if I want to write description for them, I'm writing description as output values. This will be displayed as it is. Okay. So this is a documentation we do using Swagger. Okay. Till here everything is clear, I think so. I'll show you the code once again. Please try to see. I'll just minimize a little bit so that you'll see only Swagger documentation. So I'll highlight it. How to do the Swagger API documentation. So this is how you should do the Swagger API documentation. Please have a look at it. Any doubts you can ask. I'll give you 2 minutes. You can fill those parameters. And this way of documentation is very important with syntax spacing. Okay, no queries. So once it is done, let me run it. So I'll stop it and restart the web server. So here I'll enter API docs. So now you can see it has created a beautiful UI where it is showing me a bar, and I'm using get method, and I'm using predict URL, and it has given a title like this is for testing API using Swagger. So let me click on this. Then you can see the UI generated is very beautiful. Now let us try it out. So for 80 ambient temperature, I'll enter it as okay. I should click on try it out whenever you're doing. So I'll enter it as some 16 degrees, and V, that is vacuum, I'll enter it around 46, and AP, that is ambient pressure, I'll enter it around 1000 millibar, and relative humidity I'll enter it around 80. So let us see what is my output I'm going to get. So now you can see actually it is getting the request, and what is happening, the code returned is 200. So whenever the code returned is 200, you will get the response correctly. That is, the value of PE is 461.82. So this is how you can test your APIs whatever you are building. So till here it is clear, I hope so. How to generate a Swagger API and test it. Even it functions same in the phone. Did you get a clarity on this? Okay, I'm clear with, I'll create a poll rather. I'm clear with Swagger API documentation, Swagger API testing. So just attend the poll, then you will get. I'll get to know like how many of you understood that. Only one person voted. Are you guys trying? Oh, testing. Okay. Oh, API testing is nothing, I'll tell you. Oh, many are facing problem with API testing. Did you guys execute on phone? Can somebody send me how they have executed on phone? A screenshot in the group. What about others? If you have any queries, you can ask, guys. Only 9 people voted. Can somebody post who are working on phone so that I can see the output? May I know how many guys are attentive in the class? No idea of that. Okay, I'm taking attendance. Wait, I am present. Let me see how many of you are attentive. If you don't understand the something, let me know so that I can do something. But you're staying dummy. 30 note says yes. Are you understanding? Just try to poke me sometimes in question and answers because I would like to be busy in class. If you are being silent, it goes in a one way. You can ask questions. If you have any problem, you can ask me. I'll just try to explain it once again. Okay, 15 are present and 15 have answered the poll. Okay, sir. Somebody responded. Okay, that is at 6:41. Fine. Let us continue. Now, actually, whenever you are testing this API, the API method is called as get. Okay, I'll speak little bit about APIs right now, and then we'll see another method of posting even. So I just got little bit documentation with respect to what is an API exactly. So what happens is that whenever you are using an application in your mobile, okay, the application will directly connect to internet and it will send the data to server. So what the server does is that it will try to search for the API. Okay, it will try to search for the API for which you made a request. Okay, so suppose you see whenever I'm entering those four values, it is trying to connect to an API. Okay, and based on that request received by the server will process your request and implement the model on it, and then will give you the output. So every app we are using will work on these APIs only. Suppose let's say whenever you are taking Google Maps and you are searching for a location, like what location you are searching for. Let's say I'm searching for Hyderabad. So that means I am making a request to a backend API. Then once the request is made, that request need to get processed and it will show you the location of Hyderabad in your map. So this is how the things work. And today the world is running in and around APIs only completely. If you want to build anything, you should have an API for it at the backend. Okay. So and API, how does it work? Actually, whatever request we are sending, there are four HTTP methods. One is get, other is post, other is put, and other is delete. So what is this get request is doing? So what happens when you make a get request is that it will try to get the inputs from your user and it will try to give you the output by processing the inputs which you have given. That is how get request works. Okay. And one more thing, this get request can be cached. Cached in the sense, suppose once you are making a get request, that get request should be stored in the cache. And if you want to immediately retrieve it, you can retrieve it. And it is useful only for one request per attempt. Okay, it is useful for one request per attempt. And coming to post, okay, whenever you are posting something, the post functions for very large files. Okay, suppose let's say now I have entered only one value set, like four values I have entered, that is one data point. I mean, one value set I have entered. Let's say I want to calculate for my whole file. I have a test set and I want to calculate it for whole file. So at that time, if you want to process an API request for whole file, then you will be using post request. And post request is not cached. That means once you have attempted post request, okay, then your request is done, and after that it will not be cached. If you want to retrieve that request, you can't do it. That means it won't be saved in the history. Whereas get request will be saved in the history of the server. Okay. So whenever you are going for building security applications, always go with the post method rather than going with the get method. Okay. And put is something where you can alter your files. Delete is something but where you can delete your files. Majorly whenever we are applying these APIs in machine learning, we go with get and post methods only generally for deployments. So we have seen get method and let us see how we can use post method. Okay. And work with a file. So for that, I'll take an example. And if you have any queries, you can ask. With respect to APIs. And regarding Swagger also, I've given some notes to you here on top. So it is like setting rules for format describing REST APIs. Okay. So whatever API you have built is called as REST API. REST stands for representational state transfer. Okay. REST stands for representational state transfer. and this Swagger, whatever you are building, it will be used to share documentation even. Suppose, let's say, before I want to deploy my machine learning model, I just don't want to build my whole HTML and whole CSS, but I want to test whether how my model is working. So in order to provide that documentation without having much stress in designing, you can use this API and then give it for testing at a first level only. Okay, for model testing. Hope this is clear till now. If you have any queries, you can ask. I'll give you 2 minutes. So any queries are welcome. Else we will move on to the next step for how to use the post method and generate the result for the whole file. No response from you guys. Okay, any queries on this? Okay, I want to check how many of you are implementing simultaneously with me. Mm, I am implementing simultaneously with class. I just want to know how many of you are implementing code simultaneously with class. Yes, no, half the time, most of the time. To say most of the time, I won't accept, but let's see. Quick poll. So people who are not implementing with the class, may I know the reason? You can post it in question and answer. People who are not implementing along with, may I know what's the reason? And in project, I'm going to give mentorship and you're going to build everything on your own. Remember that. I'm teaching you deployment stage. So the whole of project will include deployment only. I'll tell you what are the steps to be done. Once you've done that steps only, I'll just try to proceed forward. Because these all implementations you need to do along with yourself. Okay, 6 members are implementing along with me. 8 members are not implementing with me. May I know the reason? Okay, I got some question and answers. Technical problem. Sanjana, what's the technical problem? May I know? At least a screenshot. I know you will implement it after class, but if you implement it along with the class, it will be better. I hope so. Power cut. Okay, that's cool. I can't do anything with that. Not an issue. Others, 8 members who are not implementing with me, I don't know what you're gonna do. I'm going to give you the data set in project, and I will ask you to develop this model, and then I will check for it. Okay, so try to implement and learn it carefully. In project, I'm going to give mentorship and I'm teaching deployment because the project should be end to end. If you want project, I can just simply take a data set and directly implement 2 models and just give it to you. But I just want you people to do it hands on, because whenever you go to get into industry, or if you get any client projects even in future, if you want to get into consultation. At that time, this will be very much useful. So please try to concentrate well and do simultaneously along with me. I'm not here for motivation, but if something is missing, I'll just involve in it. Okay. So now let us do the same thing for how to use the post request for generating outputs for the multiple files. Okay, multiple data points. Now I'll show you a data set actually. So where is I deploy them? Okay, today I have sent a data set, I hope so. Combined power set cycle test CSV. Okay, the data set is getting opened. So you can see in this testing data set, what I have done is that I have taken only 4 rows and I have a whole file. So now for this whole file, I want to generate my fifth column. That is how much power output I am going to get. Okay, when these conditions are maintained. Okay, here I have almost 50 points. Now I want to get the values for those 50 points at once. Previously, whenever you are making get request, you are making it for only one data point. But now I want to make for 50 data points, generate an output at once only. So for that, I'm not going to use get request because get request can't be used for multiple data points. So I'm going to use a method called as post request. So how to do that, we'll see step by step right now. I know I didn't share my screen. Okay, now are you able to see my screen? Yes, now you will be able to see my screen. So I'll share my PyCharm. Okay, I'll just show you my data set even, sorry. So actually I have a data set where I have 50 points, 50 data points, and I want to generate output for these 50 data points at once. Okay, so whenever I'm going to generate output for 50 data points, I can't use a get request now. I should use post request because it is a file. Okay, if you have only one data points and one value set, you can go with get request, but if you have multiple value sets, then you need to go with post request. So how to use that post request and how to take request from my local system, that we're going to see right now. So let me go on to my PyCharm. So actually I'll try to copy paste some of the code from here. So I'll just take it as another file API2 for post request. So Python file API2, and I'll take some inputs from this code only. So my first inputs which I take is generally the routing parameters. So I'll just try to copy paste these all things. So from Flask, I'm importing Flask, request. Pickle is mandatory for deserialization. From Flasker, I want to import Swagger API UI. So I'm doing that. And the model deserialization code is here and app routing. And here I want to use post method. Okay, here I want to use post method because I'm going to work with files. So whenever you are using this post request, so how to do coding is something we're gonna see right now. So for that I'll define my function again, same. So I'll just define my function as predict. Okay. So now I'm defining my function as predict. So under it I'll write the code. Okay. So what is the code we should include? First, we should include the documentation for Swagger. So how to include the documentation for Swagger? Okay, so in the doc strings, let me include, and the first line, I'll be writing the title. So let's say the title is this is the test method for post. So this is a test method for post method API for post request, let's say. Okay, this is a test method for post request. And under it, if you want to make a separation, let me make it as 3 bars. And under it, you should maintain double space gap and an hyphen and a double space, then name. So here the name should be, actually I want to take my file as a name. Okay, so here I want to take file as an input. So that's why I'm taking my name as file. So once name is taken as file, next I wanted to take input type. Okay, so input type should be file only, and again, okay, here in is file. Next, the type should be again the file type. And here I'll tell you the documentation correctly, because there will be little change, and whether it is required or not you can choose. So I'm just checking it as required true. Okay, once it is done, let us check whether the API documentation is created or not. Okay, because I didn't write any predict function, but let us check whether the API documentation is created or not. Stop and rerun. Let's cancel because we need to run okay, so run. So let me stop API. Okay, this is stopped. Okay, so let me run the API 2 service. Okay, it is not starting the web server because I didn't give the code. What is that code which I should give? Where the web server should start from? If name is equal to underscore underscore name is equal to underscore underscore main. So once I enter this, I want to run my API. So API dot run. So this will run post request now. Let us see how does it vary from the get request. So welcome to my API is default page. So I'll just enter predict, or we need to enter API docs, right? Yeah, API docs will enter whenever you're using Swagger. Okay, so it is failing to load the API because we didn't give the complete code to it, although we gave the documentation. So till here it is clear, I think so. Actually, I need to change this file type and things. I'll just make a change. Okay, everything is clear. Fine, let me check my documentation. Meanwhile, you can just go through the code entry in your systems. Any queries you can ask. Just I'll check that file name type. Okay, so actually everything is correct only, but here I just want to enter input as form data. Okay, because actually every data which we are giving as a input as a value set, that will be taken as a form data. So that is the line you need to edit. Remaining things, everything is like right. And we need to write responses, right? So how to write the responses? So simply write responses, and once it is done, our response should be with a double space 200. I should collect my response at 200 HTTP, and once it is done, write the description for it. So I'll write description as output values are. Or else let us keep it as output values only. So now let us run and check the documentation whether it is correct or not. So I'll just stop it and run it again. So default page is opened, and API docs. So it is failing to load the API because the whole code is not written. That's the error, I hope so. Because we didn't mention any JSON files to be called upon. So how to mention that, we'll see. So let me stop. So actually now I want to enter my data set, right? The testing data set. So if I want to enter my testing data set, and required is true only, right? Yeah, I can mention it as true only. So whenever I want to enter my data set, actually whenever I'm inputting my data as a file, okay, actually I should request the file from my system. So how to make that request, and how to make it converted into a data frame so that our model can predict the values for it. So that is something we're going to write in the next step. So for that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to assign my data frame as df test, which is equal to pd.readcsv. Okay, so actually pandas is not imported, that's why it is showing as white color. So if you import pandas here, it will be better. As we're gonna take the data set as input, input pandas as pd. Okay, input pandas as pd. So now pd has been created. So now what is this data set should be? This data set I should request from my particular folder, okay, from my local system. So for that, the argument is like this. Actually you wrote yesterday request.args.get, right? Here you should write request.args.file, sorry, request.files.get. If you want to get a single value, you will write args.get. If you want to get a file, then you will write files.get. So now in brackets I'll mention it as files or file, because the name which I want to show it. Okay, so this will choose the file for us. Hope this is clear till now. So this will help us in choosing the file from the local browser. So once a file is chosen, I want to make a prediction. So actually for prediction I need to write a code, right? So what is the code I should write? Model.predict. So for that, what I'll do is that prediction is equal to model.predict. Okay, model.predict, and for which I should predict it for df test. That is whatever data set I'm trying to input as a file. Okay, so now the prediction is done. Once the prediction is done, I want to return the values of prediction. So how should I return? I should return it as a list of things. Actually we are predicting it for 50 values, right? The data set. So it will return the list of values. So for that I should mention the list even. So first I'll convert my predictions into string. Then I'll try to print the list of those strings. Okay. So print string of list of prediction. Hope till this it is clear. I'll explain you once again. So actually, whenever you are dealing with files, you can't work with get request is something we have discussed. So for that, I'm changing my methods to post in the API routing. So once if you change the method to post, actually the parameters here should also change because the input is not the just values. We are taking input as file. Okay. So for that, the input, if it is file, then this is the way you should write the API documentation. So the name should be file and input should be form data and type of input should be file and required is true. Okay. So the responses and things commonly that needs to be included in the API documentation. Now, once you are inputting the CSV file, okay, once you are inputting the CSV file, actually it should be processed by pandas. So that's why I'm taking that pandas.read CSV, whatever data set you are inputting for testing. So df test is equal to pd.read CSV of request files.get of file I'm written. That means it will show the same in the uh, API documentation only when you open it. Now I wanted to predict for this data set which I am inputting. Okay, so this request.files.get is something which will help you in getting input from the desktop. Then after that, once the prediction is made, actually here there are a lot of values, so you'll get a lot of predictions done as a list. So now I'm going to print that list. Okay, so how does this run? Let us see now. So once it is done, try to access the API docs. Failed to load API. Fetch error, internal server error. That's cool. So let us check if any other server is running or not. So I'll just try to check whether API is there. Yeah, this API is already initiated a server. That's why it is showing an error. Now you need not worry about anything because you can just create the same code in the previous code itself, in the previous API only, and you can make get request and post request in the same code because the server has been allocated to it. Now let us try to run this server. If possible, it will run because actually the system has already taken the first thing as a server, and next thing when I'm running it is throwing an error. If this time it doesn't run, let us do something called as run the server again. Okay, by including this code in that particular code by just involving the post request only. Or else I'll try to change particular names here, like instead of here predict, I'll use predict file. Okay, I'll use the predict file as documentation API. I'll also try to change the function name because it is getting confused, I hope so. Predict for file. So just I'm changing the name of that particular URL, but it won't get a confusion in API documentation. And here I'll just make it small, required true, and responses, it's clear only 200, and it should go with fine description. So once it is done, everything is clear, and api.run, it is main only, it is running, that's fine. So everything is cool. I just changed the names little bit. So let us see whether API to server will be initiated or not. Because of names mismatch, it is not able to recognize, I think so. So I just changed the name. And it is showing an internal error, internal server error, API spec dot one JSON. Okay. So now what I'll do is that I'll try to include this bit of code in my original code itself. For that, whatever I have added, I'll see. One is I have imported a new module called as pandas. So in this API only, let us use the post request also. So pandas has PD, and the whole of code. This time I'm making a post request. So from here I'll copy because the server is not getting initiated at this stage. So I'll just copy and paste it here. That means I'm using two requests in one thing only, one documentation only. Now if the host is busy, then let's see. So from here everything is cut pasted correctly. So I'll just drop this documentation which is done for post method. I have included the documentation for post method also in the same documentation. So let me delete this, save delete. You can try if you are able to get in the next box even. So get post. So I'm dropping this and running my API back. So default page is opened and let us run the API docs. What is the internal server error? Failed to load API definition. What's wrong with this? Okay, method, let us change this to POST and then rerun it. I think it is not able to recognize that post method properly. POST when I have given in the capital letters. Okay, again it is throwing the internal server error. Okay, let me check it in Stack Overflow right away. Okay, there is some explanation given. Issue, there is an issue with Flasker 0.9. This happens if I am using decorator, whereas it doesn't happen otherwise. Okay, I didn't face any of this problem. I'll just try to open my documentation and show you. But the method is same. Just a second. I'll just stop the server and open my main documentation. So open. So API Flask. So I have developed Swagger app too. So you can see the same thing which we have did it in the previous code. The Flask is there, Pickle is there, Pandas is there, and same lines of code. And let us check whether this is able to run or not. Then I can solve the problem over there. So let me run the Swagger 2 app. Here the default page is different, but the API documentation is the same. Okay, now you can see the post request is created. Actually, the code has no issue, but I don't know why it is not initiating from there. I'll recheck it and let you know. And documentation, I'll send you this only for APIs. So actually, whenever I'm taking this post request, this time I requested a file to be chosen. So here I'll get an option to choose my file. So when you click on this, try it out, I can choose my file which I have shown you recently. So this will redirect to my desktop. So from desktop, I am able to choose my file. So I'll choose this file. And once the file is chosen, I can execute this. And now you can see it has given me the output in the form of list. Okay, I can download this even as a list. So like this, you can test APIs by using get method and post method. And creating APIs in industry is very major role, because whenever you build a model, you need to develop an API for it even. Any issues you are facing? Hope this is clear with respect to get request and post request. And I don't know the server issue with my actual code which you have executed, but the code lines are same. So I just try to upload this documentation. So in this, whatever we have seen, it's clear, I think so. First, we have seen how to make a general API and test it by using get method by inputting values in the browser. And second, we have seen uh, how to generate a Swagger API for get methods. This is a thing. And finally, we have seen how to use post method in order to generate the results for the files. So any queries are welcome. I'll just upload this documentation on Google platform. So meanwhile, I'll tell you, we initiated the Google Classroom. You can join off straight away. Can you explain post method once again? Sure, Manasa. So in post method, what we're going to do is that actually the get method is used when you have only one value set, but post method is used when you are handling larger files. Okay, here I have a file with 4 data points, I mean 4 parameters in a file, and I have 50 data points with me. Now for that 50 data points, I want to predict the values at once only. So at that time, what I'll do is that instead of going with get method, which will give me prediction for only one value set, I want to go for post method. So post method has a capability of handling higher amount of files. Okay, and do iterations even for every value set. Okay, so in the post method, what you need to do is that if you are inputting files, okay, for Swagger documentation, you need to do the documentation in this way. So as you know, always the Swagger documentation should initiate with a title. So that's why I am initiating with the title. Let's predict PE, and under it I am writing parameters. So previously, whenever you are writing parameter, you have mentioned data type, okay, and all other parameters. So here my name is my name that I want to input is file, and what should be the data? It should be in the form. That means whenever the form is getting filled step by step from the CSV, then it should predict the values is something which I'm telling. Okay, so that's why I'm mentioning here it as form data. Next, the type. So what is that uh, output you should get for a sort of input? Okay, so here you should mention the input type. So the input type should be file. So that's why I've given it as file. And required is something but validation. So whether you should compulsory give it or not. So I want to give it compulsory. So I mentioned the validation as true. Now responses, this is a common code you should write, because that is a HTTP request you are making, and 200 is a code. And once it is done, now I want to assign my file inputted to the data frame. So that's why I'm inputting it to the data frame df test, and pd.read CSV, for reading CSV files it is used. And request.files.get is a command used to request file from your local system. Okay, so that code I have written. Once the file is inputted or file has taken as input, you want to make a prediction. So the prediction is equal to model.predict. So df test. So I want to make prediction for the df test. That means whatever file is inputted. Then I want to return the values as a list of prediction. So that's why I have written it. And then I have written as if name is equal to main, then app.run. Then I am running it. And when I'm running it, it will start the local server. Once the local server is started, I can open here. And in the default page, if you enter /API docs, your Swagger API will be up and running. So here you got the post request. So once you, oh my god, where it is opening to? It has got clicked on add, I think so. So here you can see, when I click on try it out, you will get file to be chosen. So when you choose the file, you will get the values for the whole set of values present in the file. So here you got the whole set of values. That means for 50 predictions have been made as a list. And if you want to download, you can just click on download. Hope this is clear. Oh, someone is asking, can we include graph in that visualization? Yes, you can include Sanjana, but for graphs and accelerations, we have another library that will make your work very easily. That we will see day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna see how to make web pages by using HTML and CSS for the same thing without generating APIs. And hope you had good session, and try to watch the video once again and try to implement everything. And I'll just take the class review.